first, Jamie. So, Jamie, go for it. And Amanda will backstop you doing your life map here with the PowerPoint. So, go for it, my sister.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, thank you guys for listening to my life story. It was really fun to get all these photos together, but I feel old because I had to take pictures of pictures. So anyway, yeah, all right, let me go to the next slide here. So yeah, this is my baby pictures. I use the 5 H's to tell my story, which would be heritage, heroes, hard times, high points, and hand of God. So yeah, I was born in New Kensington, Pennsylvania, and I grew up in a town called Lower Burrell. And yeah, that's me as a baby. That was my first dog, Snoopy. I love dogs. So, my childhood home was in Brayburn Heights, Pennsylvania. And fun fact about that house is my husband built the porch in 1998. So that was pretty cool. He went to vocational school for masonry, so he was able to build that brick porch. It's a little crooked, but it's still okay. Yeah, much of my childhood was spent swimming in our above ground pool and riding bikes around our neighborhood with our best friends. Um, my mother, Sue, she worked at part-time jobs as a nurse's aide and a home health care aide, and performed most of the day-to-day tasks in our home. Um, she would have dinner ready when my dad came in, and that's when we all sat down at the kitchen table and we ate dinner. Yeah, so she did a really good job at that, is taking care of us at home while my dad worked. My dad, he was a full-time steel worker of 35 years at Allegheny Ludlam. Um, and the steel industry is real popular in Pittsburgh. So all of my relatives that I know of, that my uncles and even some of my aunts and my mom at one time, they all worked at the steel mill. So yeah, my dad, he would work double shifts to provide for our family at times, which was a lot on him. But he would come home, go to sleep, wake up, go to work the next day, do a double shift. If he could catch another shift, he would. He had with 3 kids, he had a pretty tough working life, because he breathed in a lot of dust and dirt from the mill. But anyway, he was able to retire at 35 years, and he's retired in 2011, so he is enjoying his retirement now, which is great, and it's great that he's out of that environment. Um, yeah, my sister and my brother, my sister's a middle child, Becky, and my brother is the youngest, Mark, and there they are with my niece Lydia, who's 2 years old now. And my sister's my sister has her Frenchie, so she has 3 dogs. So yeah, my sister and I are very close to this day. We're best friends. My brother lives a couple towns over, and we keep in touch. But my sister and I have more of a closer bond than anyone. So I was Methodist, and at times we attended a small church in Brayburn, which is the flats. Um, Brayburn Heights was like up on the hill. The flats were basically right down by the river, and at one time this church was flooded by the river. So, um, but yeah, we would attend this church occasionally. My parents were not very religious when we grew up. They did believe in God. We did not pray together. We did not talk about God together. It was different. But I would say, my influence over them to this day is pretty good when I talk about God, because, I'll explain that later. But yeah, so we had friends that would come to this church, and we would go to commune with them. And a couple times I was in a couple plays that they had held. So it was kind of fun. I have good memories of this church, and when I drive by it now, it just brings me back. It really does. And so, yeah, I met my husband in high school at age 16, and we started dating. At age 18, I moved in with Mike's family, and Mike's mom, Sharon, took me in as her own and never asked me for a penny for rent or anything. And Mike and we lived with his mom for 5 years while I was in college, and then we moved out and we rented a house a couple towns over. So there we started our life together with our new puppy, Jesse, and we were finally independent, and it felt really, really good. And that was at age, I think, 23 we moved out. Um, so yeah, we married on October 8th, 2005, and we bought our first house in 2011, um, back to the town where I was born in New Kensington, where we live to this day. So, I started college part-time. This is kind of funny. I started college part-time and graduated from Penn State University in 2010 with a Bachelor's of Science in Business Management and Marketing. It took me many years because I needed to work full-time while I was attending college part-time, only taking 2 courses a semester. The day I graduated, which was a relief, and I felt so proud of myself. This article surprised me. The day after I graduated, my parents called me and said, "You made the front page of the paper." And I said, "What?" They handed me it and showed me a good laugh between me and the chancellor. I was going to shake his hand with my left hand, and I switched it quickly to my right. So then he started laughing, and it made me laugh. So when anybody laughs, it makes me laugh. My friend caught that. A friend of mine from high school worked for the paper at that time, and she caught that and she snapped that photo. And I said, "Oh my, that is so funny." Um, One thing you may not know about me is I'm a licensed cosmetologist in Pennsylvania. I obtained my hours in high school going to a vocational school. I tried working in salons, but it wasn't for me. But now friends and family come to me to get their hair done, and they leave with smiles on their face, and it makes me feel like it's well worth the effort. And I take donations. I don't charge them. I just say whatever you can do. Um, so then the next part is the heroes. I have a couple heroes that shape me to this day. My dad, for one, who's always been there through thick and thin. I consider him my rock. He's the how do I put it? The piece of the puzzle that holds all of us together. His strong work ethic and discipline shaped me for who I am today. And I always tell him that God created him to be a father and a grandfather. And that is so true because he's great at it. Sharon, my mother-in-law, was another one. Um, she was definitely my hero. Although she wasn't very good at showing her emotions, she never gave up on her family. But she taught me how to be nurturing and forgiving. She was a tough woman until the day she died, which was this past January. Um, yeah, so I miss her very much. Mike is another one, he's been with me through thick and thin, stuck by my side through everything. We grew up together, and I can also say that he's my rock. Um, so we just have a very strong bond. Um, so hard times is the next section, and I will say the hardest time I can remember as a child was losing my grandmother. Things suddenly turned unexpectedly turned and shook the very foundation of my family when that happened. The tragedy led to the splitting of my mom's family. Um, and the beginning of the splitting of ours. And my mom fell into a deep depression and most days wouldn't even get out of bed, so that was really hard. She began having severe anxiety attacks, and back then, we didn't know how, she didn't know or have the resources to get help. So she kind of just suffered with it, and her family suffered for that too. Um, so that was I was forced into childhood taking care, or forced into adulthood taking care of my sister and brother while my dad worked, and that was one of the really hard times. Um, when I was 21, my parents got divorced. Um, so that was the splitting of my family. My sister and brother at the time stayed with my dad, but I was moved out with Mike at that time, so it didn't, the divorce affected me in different ways. It affected them because they weren't out of high school yet. So, another hard time was in 2021. Mike's brother took his own life, um, due to undiagnosed depression for many years. Um, and the day it happened to be the second day I started working for WCP. That was very, I was nervous enough to, start a new job and to meet new people, meet my coworkers, but it just happened that that day, I had to leave, and yeah, it was really sad. Um, but yeah, over the years, and the death of my mother-in-law also in this past January, it's been a hard hit. So we're just like grieving and just settling her affairs. So yeah. Over the years, I started to experience panic attacks like my mother. I struggle with anxiety to this day, cannot drive a car far from my house. I don't experience them too much outside of the car, just inside the car. And have I've been working a lot trying to find out why. I can't put my finger on it. Um, so I'm just thankful through all of this that God has pulled Mike and I together, my family together, and gave us the strength to pull together and not apart. So yeah. Um, yeah, some of the highlights. On a good note, my family went on a Disney trip in 1986, and you can see pictures of us there. I was so excited. That's me on the left-hand side going like this, So, and then yeah, that was a big trip for my family because we didn't have much money. We hardly went on any vacations as is when I was a child. So this was a big one, and I can remember so much about it. The hotel, the music, the food, the atmosphere at Disneyland, the hot weather because we went in January, and Epcot Center, the monorail rides. I was just so grateful my family could go. Um, yeah, other highlights are trips Mike and I have taken, such as cruises to the Bahamas, Bermuda, Alaska, a land trip to Alaska where my dad came with us, and I think I might have maybe not, no. Um, yeah, we went on a Resurrection Bay and we caught 27 salmon in 2 hours, which we got really lucky because the day before, the same charter said they didn't catch anything. So we were lucky that day. And yeah, we smoked those, my dad's cousin took those salmon and we cooked them on the grill the next day and they were just so delicious. So good. Fresh. Yeah, but other than that, we always find fun things to do with our family and friends. We just, we always have plans in the, on the weekends to either go out with them or, just do something together. So yeah. My niece, she's another highlight. Her name's Lydia. She brings so much light to my heart. She has um just with her spirit and just reminds me whenever we were kids, growing up. She looks so much like me and my sister. So it's just so awesome to see her grow. Yeah. So, and also my dogs. I consider them a highlight. They are definitely my buddies and my best friends. So I've had dogs all my life, and you see in the first picture, I had Snoopy. That was my first one whenever I was an infant, but I've had them all my life, and I will not. And I told my husband, I said, if you feel like you're not a dog lover, well, then you're not meant to be with me. Because I am a dog lover. I love them. But yeah, they bring a lot of happiness to my life. Yeah, for sure. The Hand of God is the next section, and it wasn't until 2027, surprisingly, that I truly accept God in my heart. Um, Before that, I really didn't. I like I said, I believed in God, of course. But I didn't know what a personal relationship felt like with God until I started Anchor Distributors. And this family here, this is a fun picture that we took during Christmas. This family here, they taught me how to pray. And they taught me just what it meant to be close to God and to have that feeling. And like I said, I didn't know before that. Was going down a really just the wrong path, put it that way. Um, so yeah, I started praying for every bit of happiness and sadness in my life, and I saw a change. I was changed for the good. Um, so yeah, that really they really helped me. Um, and let's see. But yeah, they always said that they're a business first and a ministry second, but um, yeah, and they prayed during meetings, and I said, "Hmm, that's kind of weird." But now I feel that, oh, I don't think I can not pray before a meeting now. It would feel weird not to. So yeah. Um, so yeah, God called me to work for WCP in 2021, almost 5 years ago, 4.5 years, and I have connected with some really amazing people. Um, my faith has strengthened more in the past 5 years than ever before because of the people that influenced me at WCP and FE. And I am so grateful for that and you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. Although I don't have a missions background, I feel God has granted me the intelligence to strengthen WCP where I can and FE, in some places, and I am just so blessed. So thank you for listening to my story.
Thank you, Jamie. So good, so good. Yeah, I'm impressed as I listen here today how rooted Jamie is, both in family and in place. Pretty impressive. So let's just
Thank
take a
you.
moment, brothers and sisters, and hold her in silence before the Lord in gratitude that she's in our midst and what she brings to WCP and to FV. So just a couple of moments of silence and hold our sister before the Lord, and then I'll bring us back after a moment. Mm. Yes, Lord. Thank you for Jamie. Amen and amen.